Okay, going to look at, what is it, bringing an armor into Outfit Studio. So body slide, Outfit Studio. Got this one first. Got an armor, I've taken all the weights off. Start with the dress, that's the hardest part. Now this one, it's already been a CBB one, but you can see it has no bones or partition set. This one, because it has several meshes, actually I'm going to show you something important on this one. First thing we'll do is bring in a reference. We'll use the 3BA body, and it fits nice. Just have a quick look. You can turn the textures off to get a better look at poking through or not, and it gets all too shiny, get a bit of a problem. This one fits relatively nice. The belt section is a little bit bigger around the waist, gap there, because sometimes some under accessories aren't always exactly skin tight, and there's a little bit of leeway for error with the sliders. What we can do, this is reference, you highlight all of these. Now, you don't really want to do a big, massive, wide area weighting, even though the skirt does hang out a little bit. So we'll go here. We'll select all of the bones that one has. Hold down Control, get the individual extra ones. Go here. All of the ones we want to put that onto, and because all except the skirt itself is actually very close fitting and should follow nicely, we'll just copy those weights, the selected weights. You can set these up, and theoretically you should be able to give it a big area. And that'll put the body weight onto the armor, so it'll follow very closely. Skirt may need a bit of attention though, because how it flares out, it's a little bit wide around. Let this do its thing. That's done. Just to check where it's gone. There you go. Mask weighted. That's got them all. Now, what we can do to see how it's gone, we can select individual bones, tell you where they are. For mask, it can be hard to see. It looks like it follows the body weighting kind of nicely. Pretty much how it looked on the body, and that's how it's gone for the skirt. The skirt actually hasn't gone too badly. That's one way, if your armor is not too terrible. And then it won't have any sliders on it yet. So we'll go to slider, conform all. This is all pretty good as it is. Go OK. Go slider when it's finished. Set base shape. And that should be pretty well done. So we'll save this as a project. Save project as, and I'll call it tutorial dress. Now, if you just push to project, it'll put that everywhere. But we don't want exactly that everywhere. So we'll give this the output file. Name it one, we'll call this one dress. And we'll put it in our mod directory. So this will make the mesh in tutorial armor new outfit, which I don't really want to put it in new outfit. But I do want to give it its own, because if we put our name here, it'll put all the mods we make as a mesh in that folder, in the armor section of that folder. But we don't want all our armors just in the raw armor folder, so we'll give it its own folder. We'll call this the tutorial outfit. I can show you the mess I made because I didn't know this at the start. And my Clockwork Tot folder is really messy. I regret everything. But it is what it is. With the OSPs, you don't need to make 1,500 of them. We can just call this the tutorial armor OSP. We'll put them all in the same folder. That makes sense. And this is the name of the data file, the NIF that body slide will read. So we'll leave that as the address. But these ones, body slide will add all of that data cumulative. It won't overwrite it, it'll add to it. So you can get away with one slider set file for your whole project and keep it in its own little folder in the shape data folder. And then it'll put them inside there. So we'll hit save. You can just hit to project and save. And that will work, if there's any doubt. What we'll do now is close this one. We'll have body slide. And we'll check for the tutorial, which I have a lot of stuff, so I'll filter it. Yeah, tutorial address. Yeah. And that's how easy it is to rig and conform it. As the sliders move, that will move. And that's rigged to body. That's done. And I'll show you a little trick with the boots. I've got to bring the boots and the underwear in yet. Close that. Open up Outfit Studio again. And we'll bring in the underwear. Now the underwear, you just bring the body in. Code reference. PPA body. And it's already conformed. There's no clipping to worry about in this one. So what we'll do is we don't really need to worry about all of the bones in the body this time. So what we'll do, we'll just copy bone weights. We'll set our radius down to about a 2. And that'll grab the bones within a vicinity of, say, 2 units around each vertex. Now, that's actually a lot faster to do it that way than the copying, because it's not trying to calculate exactly. And if we mask weighted, turn the textures off, and we see that's all good. So mask off, turn the textures back on, and now we slider, conform all, okay. Slider, set base shape. Now, when we save this one to the project, play name, tutorial panty, output file, we'll just call it panty. Put it in our tutorial folder. Use your modding name there instead of tutorial. Now, this one, I can't remember if I had a space here or not. I'm just going to quickly check that on the other piece before I build. I'm going to put one there for now. So, get to project, and it gives us a head start on all of this. Get this out, right armor. And that can stay like that. In this box, we don't want the body to come with this one, so we'll take that out and we'll hit OK. Save that. Now, even though it won't take the reference, these bits of the reference will stay there. So what we do, we just delete these vertices. We don't want that to go in there because that'll double up if it does. And we'll save the project again. No reference. We don't want the full hard path, so we'll take that out and leave the name, and it'll put it where it needs to go. That's the underwear done. When we check in body slide, the underwear, it hasn't got the body, but it's all conformed, and you can do the high-low weights on it. There's only the boots left. Boots are a little bit tricky, and these are high heels, so it's going to be below the ground a little bit. They're meant to be like that. What we do is bring in a reference feet, the CVB feet. And they're not where we want them. That's fine. Now, we'll quickly turn this off the reference and bring in the reference that we need to use, which will be the body. You've already used the same body for all of your references, even though you don't need all the bits. Take these out so we don't forget to later, like we did last time. Now, take the feet, put that back to a reference. Close that. And this. And we'll copy bone weights. Again, we won't do the copy selected weights this time either, because obviously the toes are quite a ways away. That wouldn't be a good read. We'll do this at the standard weight, or standard range, and see how it goes. Do the mask weighted. And that's actually not bad. That's not bad at all. We can work with that. Now with heels, generally what you want to do, probably realise how heels should go. You don't really want the heel part itself. You go on anything else. So turn this strength up nice and high. And the range down a little bit. And we'll take the calf off the heel. You don't want the calf on the heel at all, because that'll make it bend. Especially if someone's using a screenshot poser, the bone weights go a little bit odd in those things, animation. We'll take the calf off the heel. It's okay on the boot, that's fine, because the boot can bend a little bit. They're not exactly, sometimes they are. Want the foot to nice and red over the heel part especially. So that goes nice and straight whenever you're posing or walking or anything like that. Yeah. Nice red weight. The red weight's the maximum weight. You can only equal up to 1. Blue's like 20%. And all the way through to yellow, green and yellow, and then red. Red's a full 1. Blue's the lowest you can have. We really want all of this sole part that didn't weigh to follow the foot. We'll just get in there and give that a good weight. And that's fine. I want to turn the strength down a little bit, just for where it's going. When you get towards the other weights like that, you hold shift. Alt will take a weight off. Shift will blend it. But you must move it if you're doing a shift, else nothing will happen. And the shift for the half effect works when you're doing a mask as well. You can hold shift and do a soft mask instead of a hard mask. Now, the way the skeletons work, you must have a little bit of toe reference. You can't make the entire boot solid red to the foot, but you can have the toe like the tiniest little blue mark on the tip. It will still count. If you take the toe out completely, I think the BHUMP body has a workaround for taking the toe out. But if you take the toe out completely on the CBVE body, it will crash the game. You just leave the toe in there a little bit. And the toe on there's fine. That should follow the toe. That's that heel foot part done. So we'll go down to the right hand. Take the calf off the heel. Just hold Alt. And it'll take the weight off instead of letting it on. And then we'll fill the rest in with the foot weight. Get the right foot. I have done it before, and odd things happen when you get the wrong foot. Vertices are too odd. You know it straight away as soon as you put it on in game. Yep, that should be a little size up a little. Hold shift as you get to the edge. Blend it. Don't really want the, if you hold S, then your mouse wheel, you can change the size. So we'll take that off the top a little bit, put it back onto the sole. There we go. That's actually not a bad waiting for a heel. But as you can see, there is quite a bit of that boot that's not weighted. We mask weighted. We got the part that's not done. What we do with that is we'll take this off the reference. We'll unmask it, think that's okay. Set this one to a reference. Now we'll mask our boots for what's weighted, mask weighted. And copy bone weights. We won't do a copy selected this time, we'll just copy the bone weights. And we'll tell the radius, it should be okay because we have straps hanging off and it'll grab them onto the calf and all that, so that's okay. That. Now, if we come here and go mask weighted, we have the whole boot done. We're not finished yet. We need to, we have all these sliders, that's all great. What we do now is conform all. Formal. Okay. Slider. Set base shape. And that's pretty good for our feet. But what's going to happen now, if we make ourselves a project, we're going to not take the reference, but it'll have these feet. So we'll just delete the feet because we don't want to draw the feet. And this is something I didn't do on the panty or the dress. The dress is okay because it defaults to the body slot. But panty is still on the body slot and we can't have that. What we'll do, we'll take out the 3BA from here. Boot, we'll give this a foot. Now, some folks do say to put both the feet and the calves if it's a tall one like this. I don't. And the reason I don't is because the rest of the partitioning can be handled in the creation kit when you make the armor add-ons, etc. Press apply, right boot, partition, set it to the feet, and apply. Now we're not quite done yet. Because these are high heels and they're quite high heels. We kind of want the foot back as a reference, so we'll bring it back in. Load reference. You can do this with any that you've already made or want to adjust. If the author hasn't got them exactly right, you can fix them like this. Bring the feet in. And then we'll bring the textures off again so we can see what's going on. Grab both of the boots and we'll make this bigger so we can see what's going on. We'll hit the move. This is not a good view. You want a viewing angle so you can see when the heel of the foot, the reference foot, just touches that heel there to get to the point where it's touching the ground. We use the move slider. We don't do the widget for this one because we want the number at the Z up, Z axis. And that looks like it would be a nice fit. And it's like about a 9.584. This number, we want this number. So we'll copy that. And then we'll cancel the move. Then we'll go to either of the boots. Go properties. Extra data. We want a float extra data. High heel offset. This looks like what I've set it on before. That looks like what I got just then. So I'll actually double check that because we don't want it floating in the air. Go on here. Go to move. This could be a reason because that actually would be the reason. I've noticed actually on these boots, they do sit on the ground quite a bit. And they should be, they're quite a tall heel. They should be above the ground. We'll go with the 9 one. I'll remember that I'll have to fix my other ones that I've made. Get extra data. And this must be all caps as well. Capitalize it like this, all caps. HH underscore offset. You just pop it in. If this isn't here, you just press the add button and then you put it in there like add float data HH underscore offset and put the value in that the Z came to. And there we go. We're done. Now we can turn our textures back on and take the feet out, reference, and delete vertices. Okay. And these are partitioned, they're high-heeled. Right. Save them to the project, tutorial boots. You can press to project and be done, but we're going to dress it up so it matches. Modern name in there. All your stuff goes in your file. Armor. We'll fix up these names here. And that's good like that. Stay. We don't have to worry about this because we've already deleted the reference. That's fine. So we'll save that. We'll check it in body slide. Now we have 3 pieces of armor. They're boots, and they're conformed. You can see them move as the high and low weight up and down the leg. The dress is conformed. That's all weighted and ready to go. You need to leave the reference in the slot 32 item, and the dress will with slot 32. That's what it defaults to. See, when we fix the panty, we haven't done the panty partition. Go back in there, and the default is on the body. What will happen here is only one thing can be rendered in one slot at a time. You can add as many as you want to the armor piece through the add-on system. But if you try and put two separate pieces of armor on and they both have the same slot, only one will show. It'll unequip the other. This is why you get things like the body disappears, because they've forgotten to do basic stuff like I forgot to do right here. We'll set this to 48. I like to use 48. 52 is recommended, but I've had to do weird things. So I use 48. 49 is generally for the skirt. You have a separate skirt. Now, that's all it takes to update your partition if you forgot to do it, or if you need to change it. You just got that. Save the project. It has all that information already here, so we'll take the hard path out and leave our file. Save that. And then we'll check on the dress that we have actually got the pathing consistent. Save project as. And we didn't see, we used outfit on this one, so we'll change that to armor, like the other two have. Take the hard path out, and then we'll leave the reference in. Save that. Now, you can batch build them. I prefer to build them individually because then again, if you haven't got many pieces, that's better too, because you can double check little things about where it's gone. Didn't update the body slide. Just restart your body slide. There we go, it's gone to tutorial armor, where we want it. Boots. Armor, boots 1, 0, and build that. And that's the body slide. Now, we go in here into the Calendar Tools, check data, find the tutorial armor, and here's all our pieces in the same folder. Wish I knew this earlier when I started making things, because this saves a problem like I have caused for myself and anybody who uses my sets. There's like 3 years of scrolling through individual hands, boots, polder, and shirt, each separate entry, when I could have put each one, and I'm going to have to go through and fix this. We have one folder. So if I make 50 outfits, that's 50 things to scroll past, not 56 piece sets to scroll past. And it's all there. And then when we go to the slider sets in body slide, you have one file. That's your entire outfit in one OSP file. Not, again, like I've done and made a nightmare for everyone and just completely garbage clogged their folder with separate OSPs that didn't need to exist. It is a mistake that I've made, I have to fix, and that's why you use that type of thing when you're making your project. Especially make a lot of them. Making them's fun. I recommend making a lot of them. And add that to Creation Kit. Doesn't matter where you start the Creation Kit from. You can start it from Vortex, you can start it from the shortcut, start from your mod manager, if you want. Starting it. Put that in the game as a brand new separate item. Always open up Dawn Guard, because it has nice dwarven armors. You don't need to. You can just open up Skyrim if you want. If using Special Edition, there's no reason not to use the DLCs, because it's part of the base download anyway now. LE, I think they're still separate in some cases. So we'll go to the armor add-on. Look for boots. I always use dwarven because it's just, you can use anything you want. I just have a liking for the dwarven. You'll notice on the dwarven set too, these have an AA on the end. It stands for armor add-on. The dwarven ones don't, because they're from the DLC, I think, because they were done by someone else. You should put that on if you use them. So we'll put 0 underscore, because that'll make it show at the top of the list. You don't have to search for it later if you need to adjust it. Tutorial boots. These are boots. Tutorial boots. And the reason you always change the ID first, if you don't change this ID first, and you change some things in here, and you press OK, CK will not warn you that you've edited anything. It will just save the edits. And if you don't remember you've done that, you publish a mod with what they call dirty edits. You've accidentally changed something you shouldn't have. You don't want to do that. You can find it easy enough in SSE edit if you've done anything weird, but it's just better to change that first. Make a new form. We don't have mail section, but there's no reason not to wear the mail. Guy picks it up. We don't need to worry about this. This is where you can add extra partition you want. The only requirement when you're adding an armor to the creation kit, any partitions referenced in the armor mesh in the 3D object must be referenced on the armor add-on and the armor reference. So if you use 5 partitions, you have to reference all 5 and you have no leeway. That's what it is. If you've only used one partition, like we only use the feet, you can add extras, calves, shoulders, whatever you want, and it will take those slots as you add to it. And you find out you don't want all those slots, just take them out in the reference sheets. You don't have to adjust your mesh anymore because it only has one partition in it. And these will still count. It will still do its thing here. So we'll grab our mesh that we made. Down on tutorial armor, called it. Armor. And here we have tutorial outfit, that was my mistake, and tutorial armor that has their pieces in it. Great, we're doing the boots this time. They do look below the ground. That's because the creation kit editor doesn't show any of the havoc or offsets or anything. Here you can add a footstep sound if you want. You can add your high heels if you're using high heel footstep. I like to use the Dwarven Spider. It just gives it a nice clack, like a budget high heel sound. That's just a personal thing. You can do whatever you want there. And when we press OK, you've changed stuff because the ID's changed. But yes, we'll make a new form. And we'll get the Curious. I actually don't remember if I put AA on the end of that. If I didn't, we're going to have to. Good. Press AA, well, we'll make sure we do it here. We don't really need the carbs on the dress. If you're leaving the mail section in, I don't know if this will really do anything with it, but I'm going to take it out because we have it on the boots as well. Grab our dress. Crash kit's pretty good. It remembers your folder, so it's got it straight there. There's our dress. If you want to add specific skin textures, like if you're making a follower or you want to change something on the player when you put it on, you can add it here if you want. There's no need to mess with the first person, although sometimes, like this one, it has the reinforced. We'll take that out, and you can either take the first person out and entirely not include it, or you can just chuck the dress in there. It works pretty much whatever you do. There is a trick to do in Body Slide to make a first person mesh. The only time it really causes a problem is when people are using the first person camera mods and they have really giant body proportions, because that obviously blocks the view. Other than that, it doesn't really cause a problem, because if you look down, all you see is the arms anyway. It shows you default arms. And that's about it for the dress. We don't really need the forearms on there, but having left the male full armor, I'll leave them there for that. And yes, we'll make a new form. And we're going to pinch the gloves. We don't really want to leave the gloves on this one because we're going to change the slot. So we'll take them out. To take them out, just press cancel, and that leaves an empty slot. Take it from there, we're going to put it onto our slot 48. Find our mesh here. There's our slot 48. And we don't need a first person. It's going to show anyway. And that's it for that armor add-on. So that, and yes, we'll make a new one. Now, let's check what I've got. And yeah, I didn't put an AA on here, so We'll edit this. I'll add it. Okay. Oh, no, we just want to rename it. Yeah. Now we go to armor. And again, we find the woven, or whichever one you want. Boots. Now, you can change the ID. Make it start at the top. And this is why we put the AA on the end. I'll call this tutorial boots. You can't have the same name twice. You don't know that. Click show all in case there's more stuff. Take this one out. We'll add a new one, and it's our boots. Okay. We'll leave that default for now. It has the keywords already if you've grabbed a piece that you want to use. This one, this is where your ground mesh goes. This is your inventory item. And we will get to that. I'll leave it default for the time being just to show. We do have to change what it looks like in the inventory. This is a name that will appear in the inventory. We'll just call it tutorial boots. If you add a description here, the item will show as enchanted in the inventory, but it's useful if you want to put an enchant that you want to hide. Like if you've made an enchant that has 50 things on it, or it has some really obscure thing and you don't really want to hide it from the UI entirely, put a description here. It'll show up as enchanted, and of course it is enchanted, you won't be able to enchant it anymore, but it won't have a big long description of like War and Peace written on the thing. Press OK on that. You can, if you want, take the weight off. I like to have my armors in that way 0. It's just a thing I do. You can do something with armor rating. You can make it heavy or light, or none makes it cloth, so a wizard can wear it. OK on that, and new form. Iris. Well, tutorial. Dress. Like this, and like that, and the dress on there. Oh, there's no extras. And we'll rename this. We'll leave these all default for now. For keywording, that's all good. That'll be where it goes. Form. And we'll hijack the gauntlets again. Or name. And oh, there's no extra, so we'll take that off. Sometimes the Khajiit and Yargonian, especially the helms, they have a different version because obviously their face is a different shape. And that's where you have that's where you got to show all, so you can tell what they are. We'll leave all this the same. Name that. You can even put whatever gold value you want, which can do really funny things at the vendor and to your crafting skill. Because the more expensive something is, the better your crafting skill when you make it. So if you make it cost like 1,500 gold, you can make a couple of them and get some really good smithing skill. So we'll leave that default for now. Oh, these we'll take off. We'll take the gauntlets keyword off there, like that. And the good thing to do with underwear is add the jewelry keywords. We'll leave the vendor item armor because that keeps it in the armor slot in the crafting. But we'll add armor jewelry. And if you want it to be a bit of an upclass, you can add the jewelry expensive. But don't add the vendor item jewelry unless you want it in the jewelry list of the crafting station. So it should, in theory, oh, the slot, hand slot, got to have 48. There we go. Okay, and yes. Now we'll just check our slots before we body, that's fine. Boots on effect, that's fine. Now we come down to constructible object. This is the easy part. This is really easy and really fun. New recipe. We know what this is and what it's a recipe for. Use it here. Dress, we'll do the dress first. If you want it to require a material, add that here. I'm going to make it cost me gold. and it's going to cost 5 gold. There we go. If you want a perk restriction, you put that in here. Same as a weapon, all that stuff you've probably done before. In the workbench, you want to make it at. Put that in here. You want to put it at the forge. Okay. We didn't have to make a new one because that's a brand new form. We'll open it back up. Change this to boots. Change this to boots. And okay, and yes. And now we have a identical crafting requirement for all 3 pieces. Open it back up. There are scripts to do this for you. I just don't always use them because I forget to, or I like to make these free or do crazy things like custom ingredients. Change that to armor table, change that to temper, and now we have upgradable. We'll do that for the same 3. Press. It's going to cost 5 gold to upgrade it because you left the material cost in there. And you can take it out if you want. There's no reason to have to leave it in there. No reason to have a cost either. But it's up to you. You can make it something else if you want. Down here, you can have it if you've got to be wearing a particular item and a keyword on it or something like that, or has in inventory. Now we want to be able to throw it away. This is the fun part. Change temper to smelting. We'll get rid of the requirement. We'll add the, we don't want to add the recipes. We want to add the piece. We'll add the tutorial, and go here. As a requirement, one of them. And that will make a 5 gold back. You can, if you want, make a gold exploit where you make it for 5 and smelt it for 10, or you make a material for something else. You can add a perk if you want a special requirement that they need to be able to smelt it. I usually keep a material requirement, like I'll make a custom material, and then have that material craft for just a couple of gold, an exact amount to make a full set. Because that way they can put the gold in, make the set, and then their crafting's uncluttered until they want it again. We'll add a new form, and we'll do the smelting for the other 2 pieces. Change it down here this time. Okay. Yes. And the boots. Okay. There we go. Now we'll save this. Call it a tutorial armor. Call it whatever you want. Fancy name for your mod. And that's pretty much it for adding an armor. We'll start the game up and see how that goes. Hopefully it'll work. Adding items, especially if they're not scripted, you can continue your game. I'm going to start a new game, just do that. That's a me thing, you don't have to. You do have to start a new game if you change any scripts. Or if you've removed ESPs. Yeah, yes. The poser gives up its error messages that aren't true errors. Just grab a preset. Yeah, I like short ones. I usually get like Facebug. I go to Criminal Whiterun. Off. Yeah. swap mode. Take off over. You'll have your favourite place to go to for a forge straight away. And I'll do a quick save and reload to get rid of the blackface bug. Now the NPCs should take care of those fellas. Free to do what we want. Go here. Here. Show your boots, dress, and so that we've got the item that we've hijacked as the ground mesh. That's what we'll fix up. At the moment, we're just checking if they function. So we'll throw them on. Get out of the soot. Looks like the high heel's a little bit broken. That can happen. And yeah, the high heels are broken. That's a bug in my game. But they function. Probably the collision's on the floor, to be honest, because they're working there for a sec. We'll leave them fighting. We'll get out of there. Get them do it. What we can do from here, now we have it in the game and functioning. Save this, and I'll double check all that high heel information, etc. We can do that while we're in the game even, but because I want to make the ground meshes, I'm going to exit the game. Make ground meshes. Very easy. Start body slide. Start with the boots because I want to check that high heel. I'm thinking because there's a clash. Yeah, this one's got a conflicting data, so we'll actually take that one out. That was our problem. It's the old data left over from when I made them before with the wrong stuff. Now that should work. So we'll save that. Save project as the hard path. There it goes. Now to make a ground mesh, we just edit, remove skinning, edit, reset transforms. That makes them just a 3D model that we started with. Now we'll export that NIF or to NIF. We'll call this. We actually got to go to where it goes. We'll put it in its thing. Measures, tutorial. Armor, and the armor. Now you can, if you want, make a new folder. I like making a new folder for the ground meshes. You just add something to the NIF, so the name of it, so you know it's a ground mesh NIF. Now we'll make it into ground mesh. Turn the widget on. If you have left and right boot, this will be kind of easy. Grab them both. So lay them on the ground. Disturb them so they look a little bit, because this won't actually work as a ground mesh instantly, but this will be what we want them to look like, I think. Click one over. Move them closer together. Maybe kick the other over a little bit the other way. Okay. Now we'll save that to a export to NIF. Boots ground. So, yep. And we'll close out Studio. Oh. Go to the dress. This one's a little more involved, but not really, only a little. Cut this out. We'll just delete vertices. We don't need to worry about preserving any information or data because we're going to remove the skinning anyway. Skinning, that transforms. This one we'll chuck on the ground to make it a bit easier when we get to the next step. Now with address, before we do that, with the chest item, you don't want it obviously to have that shape. So what we'll do, scale, I think it's, turn this off and put this to the center of object. And it's on the Y. Yeah, there you go. And the Y axis down. Not a lot of 0, but just down a little bit. Yeah. And it's sitting flat. Now if you want, you can make the whole thing a bit smaller. We'll fiddle with it more when we get to it. You can use the inflate and deflate brushes if you want to warp it a little bit, make it look like it's screwed up. Inflate and deflate that you would use to adjust clipping. Yeah. Now we'll export that to a mesh. Yeah. We'll call that. Yeah. Yes. Save. And we'll kill that. Now we'll get the pandy. Same thing. Fold them up a little bit. Scale. Take it off uniform. Center. Down on the Y. Not all the way to 0. Just a little bit. Make me a bit hard to see, so I'll darken them up. Okay. Edit. Skinning. Reset transforms. File. Bullet. Def. I want to write the whole thing, so I'll just steal it and edit it. There we go. Okay. Now, to make those work as ground meshes, you can grab any other ground mesh you want. I'm going to grab a box. And I have this box actually uploaded, freely available. Got to add my armor directory. It's something you can do. It's kind of fancy. Open up Outfit Studio. And we'll chuck this one in there. The box. Now what we do is we go to our folder where our stuff was on the meshes to the tutorial. Now you can see what I'm doing. Go down to tutorial folder. There we go. Tutorial, armor. Go to the ground. We'll start with the boots. Drag and drop. That'll be fine. Just make sure you put the ground mesh you want to use as a template in first, because that will give it all the collisions and the havoc tags that it needs. Now what we can do here, make them a bit smaller, and we'll put them in a box. You don't have to do this. You really don't have to do this. And actually, I don't even know if it's a good idea. I just like to do it because it's a bit of fun. Screw them up a little bit to make it fit better. Now we'll shift that lid, take the box lid, room, rotate that, make it a bit more interesting. There we go. Boots in a box. Oh, they don't fit there. Okay, so we'll grab them. May need to scale them down. Yeah, we need to scale them down a little bit more. There we go. Up a little bit, the straps are poking out. What you can do is even just check for any obvious nasty clipping. That lid a little bit. Up. Okay. That looks like boots that barely fit their box. Then we'll export that to a NIF and we'll overwrite the one we made. Now that has collisions and havoc tags, it needs to be a ground mesh. I'll open Outfit Studio. I shouldn't have closed Outfit Studio actually. Go back to meshes. So we've got a ground mesh we can use. You can use absolutely any ground mesh you want. Template. That's just my favorite. Like meshes. Tutorial. Ground. Put the dress in. Dress will need the most scaling, obviously. Grab all the meshes that make up the dress. Put the widget on, press F, and make it small. Would actually probably look good if it wasn't quite so flat, so let it pop up a little bit more. A little bit. Clicking there, it's got to make it a little bit narrower. I'll grab the scale on the red one. Narrower. So it's not so neat. First, we have address in a box. Export that. F, just ground mesh. And Control W will unload current project. And you can get another one. Now, if you don't want that first, we want our template first. Go and get it. If you leave the template in, like we're doing with this box, probably be an idea to grab the textures that it uses, or you can just delete the template vertices from your project. You don't have to keep it in there. And it'll keep just the flattened item you put. Where is it? Found anti. They're almost in there already. And nope, that's the lid. I don't want that. First, pick where you want, doesn't matter. That's the panning. I didn't actually move. Right, into the box. There we go. Quick check for obvious clipping. Press T, turn the textures off. There we go. That's usable ground mesh. Now, we'll go into the creation kit one more time and assign those. And because we've left the male section of the armors intact on two of them, we'll add these to the female side of the armor. So if the guy picks it up, he'll see what it would look like or what it will attempt to equip onto the guy character. But if a female character picks it up, it'll show what it would attempt to equip to the female character. Armor, find our pieces, which are nice at the top because the 0 underscore puts them there for us. And the boots, we have the guy boots there, so we'll just change the female one and we'll grab our ground mesh we made. Royal armor, ground mesh, boots. There we are, boots in a box. Okay. And on the dress, it's not going to be that anymore, so we're going to change it to the one we made, which it didn't remember where we were this time, so oh well. No. Armor, round, dress. There we go. Okay. Okay. Look at that. This one, we don't actually have a guy version, so they're both going to see the box. What's going to happen here? We'll just replace the base mesh entirely on this one. And we can leave that one blank, and it'll use that one because it doesn't have one there. As a fallback, I guess. And that's it. They're ground mesh now. We'll go back into the game, and we can continue from where we left it. I think I'll save it. and see if the high heels are no longer conflicting, and see if the ground meshes work. It's turned into a bit of a longer process than I thought it would, but none of it's been difficult, so on the upside. Can you? Yes. Decides what it's doing. It decides what it's doing. And we have high heels on top of the ground, the plus. Down to the roadside so we can see them properly. Make that little tack sound as you run. For a high heel, a 9-unit high heel is actually very high. These aren't bad at all. But these are our ground meshes now. Have a little item inside the box. And see everything where it should be. And that's it. That's a brand new armor added to the game.